Welcome to the Retirement DNA podcast. I'm Aaron Johnson. We believe you deserve financial advice based on your best interest. In our podcast, we discuss all aspects of retirement planning. Today, I want to talk about required minimum distribution, or RMDs, in 2021. So last year, with the passing of the Secure Act and all that went on with COVID-19 last year and continues to go on, part of the Secure Act was that 2020 RMDs, or required minimum distributions, were put on hold, meaning you were not forced to take the money out of your account last year if you didn't want to. You still could, but you didn't have to. Well, it's 2021 and RMDs are back. We haven't had any word from the IRS or anyone that that these will be on hold again. The IRS needs our money and they're going to make it mandatory again. So when we say RMD, for those of you that are not familiar with what an RMD is, it means required minimum distribution. So what is a required minimum distribution and what accounts are subject to RMD withdrawals? And this is a question we get a lot. All pre-tax qualified plans are subject to RMDs. So essentially, this is your all the retirement accounts basically that start with a 4. So 401ks, 403bs, 457s, rollover IRAs, and traditional IRAs. So before last year, when you turned 70 and a half, the IRS forces you to take a distribution from your account. So I mentioned that they're every year, and after that, you'd have to take distributions for as long as you live or until the money in your IRAs run out. So why does the IRS do this, right? Why do they want to force us to take money out of our accounts? Well, it's the tax revenue. That is the only reason. So you got a deduction when you put the money into the accounts, right? It was deducted from your taxes, from your taxable income. You enjoyed the growth on all of that money while you were working and while it stayed in the account and didn't have to pay taxes on it. And now the IRS wants their money. Now that it's grown and the account is much larger, they want their taxes from it. So how is an RMD, or your required distribution, calculated? So at age 70 and a half, and as of last year, now it has been moved to age 72. By the way, does anyone know why those ages? Why was it 70 and a half before, and why is it moved to age 72? Well, no one knows. It's just some arbitrary number that they came up with that has nothing to do with anything. So the way that you calculate is you take your previous year's ending balance and divide it by your life expectancy from the uniform lifetime tables. You can always look online to see what those are. If you're a client of ours, just please contact us and we'll do the calculation for you. But at age 72, your life expectancy is another 27.3 years. So if you had an ending account balance of $250,000, you divide that by the 27.3 and you get $9,157. Or you could look at it as a percentage. So it's basically 3.67%. And as I mentioned, each year, that percentage is going to increase. So you're going to have to take out a higher percentage each year of your account. So no matter what happens, even if you say, I don't need it, I don't want to take that money out, I don't need it, I don't want to pay the taxes on it, the IRS is going to force you to take it out and pay the taxes on it. And if you don't take it, they're going to penalize you 50% of what your distribution was supposed to be. And remember, you'll be required to take out another distribution that year. So in essence, you'd be taking out 2 distributions in 1 year if you were to not take it in some year. A while ago, I had a client in Virginia that was 91 years old. She had an IRA with another company. She was supposed to take just over $9,000 out. She forgot to take it, and they penalized her, the $4,600 that she was supposed to take. So she had to take out the $9,000 just after the first of the year. And then again, later that year when she normally takes them, she had to take out almost another $9,000. So for someone that's on a fixed income, that can really hurt, especially when you have to pay taxes on all that money in 1 year, plus you have to pay a 50% penalty. So we always want to make sure that that happens. And if you're a client of ours, we're always looking at that to see where all of our clients' ages are and when they have to take those distributions. So some of the most common mistakes that we see when people are trying to calculate their own required distribution is if someone has multiple retirement accounts, they may add up all of their RMDs and just take it from one account. They do this not realizing that if they have a 401k or 457 or 403b, they have to take an RMD from each of those accounts. So if you have an IRA and a 401k, you have to take two, one from the 401k, one from the IRA. If you have two IRAs, you can add those required distributions up and just take them from one IRA. But if you have any work retirement plan that starts with a 4, that 401k, 457, 403b, you have to take one from that individual plan. So some companies do have 403b and a 457, and they would have to take one from each one of those. And the second one is if a husband and wife are about the same age and they each have their own IRAs, they each are required to take a distribution from one of their own IRAs. So you can't add up the husband's IRA and the wife's IRA and just take it from the husband's. That's a no-no. You each have to take it from your own accounts. So are there any exceptions to this or strategies? So if you're working, you do not have to take distributions from your work retirement account, but you do all of your other pre-tax qualified accounts. So if you're still working and have a 401k and you reach age 72, 73, you do not have to take your required distribution from your work plan. But if you have any outside IRAs, then you do. Going back to kind of the working, a client of mine was a professor at University of Richmond, and he was 73 years old. He should have been taking his required distributions from any outside of accounts, but he didn't have any. He only had his 403b with the university, and he had a little over $2 million in it. Well, he retired on December 31st of a particular year, and the IRS looks at that as if he was retired all of that year. They don't look that he retired on the last day of the year. So when he woke up January 4th or January 1st, he was supposed to have taken his $84,000 distribution, his required minimum distribution. So he woke up, was supposed to pay that, and he had a 50% penalty on that work IRA. So kind of the moral of that story is make sure you either know you have to take that distribution or just retire January 1st and deal with it later that year. So one of the things that you should consider if you don't want to be taxed on the money and you want to give it to a charity or to a church or something like that, you can do what's called a qualified charitable distribution. So basically, you're giving your required minimum distribution that year, all of it or part of it, to a charity or church, and you're not going to be taxed on that money. So if you typically give to charities and you give to your church, then you can always take that and replace that, and you won't have to be taxed on that money. And that counts as satisfying the withdrawal for the year, and again, you're not taxed. Another strategy is for you to start doing Roth conversions before you start your required minimum distributions. This way you pay the tax on the conversion now when we have lower tax rates and we know for sure what they are, versus later on and potentially higher rates. A Roth conversion puts the tax control back to you and takes it away from the folks in DC when they can just change the rates overnight if they want to. And we know exactly what the rates are today, so we know what they would be for this year when you do your conversion. Right? So think of it this way. If you have a $500,000 IRA in total qualified accounts, and you essentially have this silent partner in your IRA, and that partner is the IRS. So right now, they own 20 to 30% of your IRA. Whether you know that or not, they do. At any time, your silent partner can change how much of your IRA they own. Right? They may vote to take 35% of your IRA by just changing the tax laws. But if you start to convert that money to a Roth IRA, you're converting at a known rate, which is today's rate, and now you are slowly getting rid of that silent partner forever. And your beneficiaries for the next 3 generations aren't going to have that silent partner either. So if you haven't ever considered a Roth IRA conversion, maybe it's something you should take a look at. Please give us a call and we can find out if it would benefit you or not. It does not benefit everyone. If you're a current client, this is something we're already looking at for you. But again, each year things change. We want to make sure that we can review that and see if it makes sense for you to do. Our main goal at the Dwayne Johnson Group and Bridger Financial Services is to make sure that our clients know that they can make it to and through retirement and can spend with confidence during those years. We want to make sure that you have the financial security in any economy. Thank you for listening to the Retirement DNA podcast today. If you have any questions or would like to sit down with us for an initial consultation to see if you're on track to meet your secure retirement, please give us a phone call. Our number is 951-244-6702. Again, that's 951-244-6702. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to our podcast. Please tell your friends and family if you think that they would benefit from hearing this information. You can also check us out at DwayneJohnsonGroup.com or BridgerFinancialServices.com. Thank you and have a great day.
Investment advisory services offered through Bridger Financial Services, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of California. Insurance products and services are offered through Dwayne Johnson Group, LLC, affiliated company. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Dwayne Johnson Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Dwayne Johnson Group, LLC.